And welcome to yet another episode of Top Rope Spoilers. This is Steve with On the Ring Apron. Having to do this one by audio recording this time. Unfortunately, we've had a bit of a illness go around the house. We were able to get plate exchange done, but just simply put, we've got too many people sick around us, and Kia and Alyssa just aren't quite filling up to snuff. Technically, I'm not feeling great either, but we are still going to take a moment here to go ahead and give you our selections for the upcoming pay-per-view this Saturday, Crown Jewel from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. First, a shout out for Shining Bright, which is the theme song for Crown Jewel this upcoming Saturday. It's definitely a banger if you take a second to listen to it, so take a moment to enjoy. Taking a look at our scoreboard here for season 3, as you can see, the score is still relatively close. Everyone across the board getting 4 out of the 6 for NXT Halloween Havoc. So unfortunately, no change in terms of who was ahead or behind. I still lead the way with 49 points. The OTRAs at 46, and Kia and Alyssa each trailing with 44. We'll see if anybody can make up any ground here for Crown Jewel. Let's move on to our first match. And unfortunately, I misspoke because technically we don't have a first match on our docket, as one of the main points that was brought up late last week and early part of this week was that Bray Wyatt will be returning to Riyadh, a place that he has had many, many successful matches, winning the Universal Championship here. He also has fallen and lost the Universal Championship in Riyadh as well. So this is certainly a place that has a lot of history. And considering that we were just introduced to a number of his family members, including Uncle Howdy, we're going to have to see how Bray Wyatt is able to interact with the Saudi Arabian crowd and what type of message that he chooses to bring to the WWE Universe. We look forward to what he has to say. He is currently not scheduled to have a match, but we felt it was prudent to introduce the segment that he will be presenting in Saudi Arabia as he prepares for his inevitable first match back with the WWE. The first official match, which is of 8 of them, including 4 of them being championship matches, is a rematch from Monday Night Raw for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, as Asuka and Alexa Bliss will defend their newly won championships against the team of Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. This match was kind of thrown together at the last second in terms of having another match to carry along the Bayley-Bianca Belair rivalry. More on them here in a little while. But inevitably, it has been Alexa and Asuka that have been chasing down Damage Control since Damage Control defeated them in the semifinals of the Women's Tag Team Tournament a couple of months ago. Damage Control, of course, ended up inevitably losing in the finals of that tournament, but would go on to win the championships from the inevitable winners, Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez, and would hold the title for several months before finally dropping them to Asuka and Alexa Bliss this last Monday on Monday Night Raw. This match has all the makings of just one to kind of bring an end to this rivalry once and for all, and it does leave the WWE Universe. Will the title reign of Bliss and Asuka be a short one, or will Damage Control ultimately fall once again to the Blissful One and the Empress of Tomorrow? Showing off our picks for this match. Currently, myself and Alyssa are both going with Damage Control to win back the championships, while Kia is going to side with the champs. So she's going to go with Asuka and Alexa Bliss to retain the women's tag titles. The OTRAs, as of the time of this recording, currently holding 63% of the votes. Remember that you can go to our YouTube community page and be able to cast your vote. A couple of the votes that we've got here for this pay-per-view are really, really close, and just a handful of votes could swing it one way or another. The OTRA's official pick does not go live and is official until the bell rings, so you still have time to go onto our community page and make your voice heard. But at the moment, 63% of our voters are going with the champions to retain. Our second match on the docket is a 6-man tag, and one that has certainly become a very personal and very heated rivalry, as the newly reformed OC, the team of the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, and his former OC, now returning partners, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson, will battle the Judgment Day, the team of Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominik Mysterio. For several months now, Finn Balor has been actively trying to recruit AJ Styles to the Judgment Day, feeling that it is the best path for him. And each week when AJ refuses to do so, the Judgment Day beats him down. He finally got tired of getting beaten down on a regular basis and ended up calling on some old friends to return back to WWE, and a shocking return as Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows, known by many as the Good Brothers, would return to back their phenomenal friend. Now they'll battle in six-man tag team action. The Judgment Day has had the upper hand for most of these weeks, usually using either heel tactics or the outside assistance of Rhea Ripley to keep the numbers in their favor. We have to wonder if the OC will be prepared for Ripley this time, or will they potentially bring someone to neutralize Rhea along the way. Moving to our picks for this particular match, and you'll probably notice a commonality on this one is once again, myself and Alyssa are going to side with each other here as both of us are choosing the Judgment Day to continue their upper hand over the OC. Kia, meanwhile, going with the phenomenal team of the OC. 78% of the OTRA voters at this moment are also going with the OC to win this six-man tag team match. Again, community page still available for you to place in your votes if you feel like you would like to let your voice be heard. But once again, Steve and myself and Alyssa both choosing to head a different direction than Kia and the Otras. So this could definitely already show off a potential premium live event where our scores could go drastically one way or another should the results all be very one-sided. Our third match on the card, and by no pun intended whatsoever, is a giant one to say the least, as the monster of all monsters, Braun Strowman, will go one-on-one with the Nigerian giant Omos. Due to just the overall sheer size of these two behemoths, it was inevitable that these two would eventually run into each other, and it just so happens that they will meet at Crown Jewel in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. For the first time that I can remember anyway, Braun Strowman ultimately had to look up at someone to be able to see them eye to eye. Omos, by several inches, has Braun Strowman in terms of height and was easily able to manhandle the monster of all monsters out of the ring in that one particular meetup. Also, having MVP in his corner has given Omos a sense of strategy as well as a sense of confidence going into this match. Strowman, however, not one to ever back down, is determined that even though this will be the first time probably in his entire career that he will be the smaller of the two competitors, he is going to determine and show Omos that he is the monster of all monsters in WWE. Moving to our picks, and once again, you see that Alyssa and I are going to side with each other here. The OTRA is also going heavily in favor of all three of us going with Braun Strowman in this match. It'll really be Braun's first major match since returning back to WWE about a month ago. He has been able to have a couple of squash matches. He's interrupted a few tag team matches, a couple of handicap matches. But this really feels like the first one in which Strowman is truly going to be challenged in terms of an overall one-on-one match. Kia, however, is going to go off on a limb. She's determined that this premium live event will be the one that is either going to make her breaker for her season, even though there are still a number of premium live events left. But she is going on her own on this one and is taking Omos to pull out the victory over Strowman. I would argue that if Omos is able to win this match, this could be the biggest one of his career. Of course, he has the almost single-handed WrestleMania win with AJ Styles over the New Day at WrestleMania to win the tag titles. And then, of course, he has his victory recently, earlier this year, over the almighty Bobby Lashley. So putting a victory over Braun Strowman would certainly put an additional feather in his cap and a great marking on his resume. Our fourth match will take place inside of a steel cage, as they have elected that running and attacking each other from behind is no longer the route that these two want to go, as the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre, will go one-on-one with the Time Eater, Karrion Kross. We've already seen these two face each other once in a strap match, a match that ultimately was won by Karrion Kross. Kross also has seemingly been ahead of Drew at every turn until recently, when after that strap match, Drew has said that enough was enough. He attacked and ultimately ended up crashing a car into Karrion Kross's car, injuring him, nearly taking his head off by slamming a door into him and keeping Karrion on the shelf for 2 weeks. Kross's return, though, made an example out of several great competitors, including Madcap Moss, to set the stage for what will be this ultimate steel cage match. At this point, you would believe that the services of Miss Scarlett in Karrion's corner would no longer be available. However, Scarlett, being known as the wonderful seductress that she is, will no doubt have a plan up her sleeve if she is able to be in Karrion's corner near the cage. But this one has all the makings of an absolute slobber knocker, to steal the quote of a former WWE announcer, and could very well be one of your goriest matches of the night. And we move on to our picks, where, again, you're starting to notice a trend here as Kia once again goes off on her own and is going to be the lone selector of Karrion Kross for this match to go 2-0 over Drew McIntyre. Myself and Alyssa, as well as the current 74% of OTRA voters, are going to go with Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre to even up the score here. Drew, having lost the first match, I feel like, would be due to win the second one, especially in front of the crowd. They've already had Drew lose one international match by dropping the match to Roman Reigns in the UK earlier this year. So I do feel like a major stadium-esque championship win, or championship level win, is due for McIntyre, and I feel like this is the right place to give it. So that is why I personally am going with Drew to win this one. One match that ended up finding its way onto the card late, but I think is a great addition to the Crown Jewel Premium Live event, is our next match, and it is for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, as the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso of the Bloodline, will put their 2 sets of tag titles on the line against the Brawling Brutes, the team of Ridge Holland and Butch. We've already seen as the Bloodline took out Brawling Brutes leader Sheamus a couple of weeks ago, injuring his elbow and his shoulder in the process, keeping him out for several weeks. The Brawling Brutes, however, have been able to work their way back into things and have gotten the edge over the Bloodline with a recent tag team victory over Bloodline members Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa, leading to the inevitable blow up and, let's just say, parent reaming of Roman Reigns. The Usos, of course, with hotshot Jey Uso as part of this team, are closing in on the longest tag team championship single run of all time, as they close into within 3 weeks of the Usos passing the New Day for the longest reign. The New Day has vowed that they will not allow the Usos to pass their record by any means. So one has to wonder if perhaps the New Day makes an appearance here and stops the Usos from retaining the championships, or will they wait until the end of this and then claim the Usos for themselves for one last opportunity? Moving on to our picks, though, and this one just of all the matches on the card, just seems like the one that appears to be the most obvious. But all three of us, along with 75% of the OTRA vote, is going with the Usos to retain the tag team titles here. As popular and as great fighting as the Brawling Brutes have been, without Sheamus in their corner, you just don't feel that same level of threat with the Brawling Brutes that you would if he had been there. It also doesn't make much sense for the Usos to drop the championships here when it seems like the end game is going to be an inevitable one final showdown with the New Day, as the New Day's longest reigning tag team title run is on the line. They've been vowing for weeks that they would stop the Usos. So I feel like if that is going to happen, it will be for the tag team titles, and the New Day will try to take them for themselves. So it just seems like this is not the place for the Usos run to end here. So all three of us, as well as 3/4 of the OTRA vote, is staying with the champs and the Usos to retain the tag titles. Our next match is the second match that ended up being put onto the Crown Jewel Premium Live event card, and it is for the Raw Women's Championship as the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, recently becoming the first African American woman to ever hold a women's championship for more than 200 consecutive days, a humongous honor for Miss Belair. Will defend the Raw's top women's championship against Damage Control leader Bayley. Saudi Arabia has been Bayley's backyard, as Bayley is currently still undefeated in matches in Saudi Arabia in her career. Bianca, however, has not fared as well, having only won a single time in Saudi Arabia up to this point. With the different environment that Saudi Arabia brings, you wonder who that actually ends up favoring, as Bayley, who tends to not care too much right now what the crowd thinks, would seemingly have the advantage inside of an environment, but the popularity of Bianca Belair seemingly knows no end, and even with the international crowd, you feel that this would favor Belair. This also could be one of the most gruesome matches of the night, as this is not just your standard match, but is also now last woman standing. So the only way to win this match is to incapacitate your opponent until they are unable to get to their feet by the count of 10. Neither of these women are known to quit or to back down, so it does feel like this is one that may have a lot of near finishes and perhaps could need some kind of set victory instead of necessarily one of strength or power in order to be able to definitively end this one. But we will see what happens when the role model challenges for the Raw Women's Championship for the third time since her return. And as you might expect, just knowing our track record across the board, we are all going with the EST, Bianca Belair, to retain the Raw Women's Championship, along with 2/3 of the OTRA vote as well. A last woman standing match just seems inevitably like it is built for a person like Bianca Belair. Ultimately, the EST should feel right at home in a match where there is literally no rules and the ability to be able to inflict as much pain and as much damage on your opponent as you want, no pun intended. Bayley, however, has proven that she has a psychotic side as well and will do whatever it takes to bring herself to victory. However, I do believe, and apparently Kia and Alyssa and the OTRAs all believe as well, that Bayley's undefeated run in Saudi Arabia will end here, and the EST is going to retain the Raw Women's title. The penultimate match on the Crown Jewel card comes with an absolute classic asterisk sitting next to it, as for the second time in a calendar year, we will see a grand opportunity to see two of WWE's best of both past and present battle it out to see who is truly the best big man in all of WWE, as the Beast incarnate Brock Lesnar will battle one-on-one with the almighty Bobby Lashley. Brock Lesnar making his surprise return several weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, ultimately attacking, at the time, United States Champion Bobby Lashley. Inevitably, he would be goaded afterwards into a match with Seth freaking Rollins and would inevitably lose his United States Championship. Since that point, he has blamed Brock for taking away the spotlight and making it all about him. But at the end of the day, this has just set up the dream match that every person has wanted to see. We have technically seen this match once. We saw it at the Royal Rumble a couple of months ago, but inevitably it was interference by Roman Reigns that would decide the match in favor of Bobby Lashley. Now, with Roman otherwise occupied, it is going to be up to these two large and burly gentlemen to decide who is truly the biggest and baddest of them all, and they will decide it inside the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in front of the WWE Universe. Moving to our picks on this one, it is a clean sweep, but not by a ton, as right now, all three of us with our group are going with the almighty Bobby Lashley to be victorious in this match. The OTRAs, where we stand as of this recording, are sitting 51% in favor of Lashley as well, but that means that this is by far our closest vote of any match on our card, and a single vote or two could decide this one either way. So again, if you have an opportunity, please go to our community page on YouTube and make sure your vote is heard. This one is especially close and will likely come down to the final vote or two. So make sure you let your voice be known, as this match does not become officially made for the OTRAs until the bell rings. I don't anticipate this match being one that's going to open. I would anticipate that this will be a match that will go deep into the night, so there is still a ton of time to vote. But with it being only 51% to 49%, this one could swing either way. So the OTRAs for the moment choosing Lashley, but it is by no means locked in. And that finally brings us to our main event of Crown Jewel. This is one that has been on the books for almost 2 months now, and is a match that I figure will no doubt sell out this Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's stadium in Riyadh, as the WWE Undisputed Universal title will be on the line, as the head of the table, the tribal chief, the near 800-day championship reign of Roman Reigns, will be tested against the media megastar Logan Paul. Now, on paper, this does appear to be an absolute mismatch. Roman Reigns having the longest world championship reign in over 30 years, closing in on a modern day record of nearly 1,000 days as champion. He will close in over 800 should he retain over Logan in this match. But Logan Paul has taken on many, many absurd challenges physically over the last several years, going head to head in a boxing ring with undefeated competitor Floyd Mayweather and lasting out a full 8 rounds with the former welterweight champion. He, of course, also has had 2 matches here in WWE on the 2 biggest stages that we have to offer, picking up a tag team victory with The Miz over the Mysterios at WrestleMania, and then turning and inevitably defeating The Miz at SummerSlam a few months later. However, the challenge that Paul faces in front of him now is most certainly a far greater challenge, and he knows very well he enters in as the underdog, but has continued to keep putting on the strife of, what if I can hit that one lucky shot and can knock out Roman Reigns in what would be, without much question, the biggest upset in WWE history? Can Roman Reigns, as the head of the table, who has gone in even maybe a little arrogant and a little cocky, saying that Paul has only had 2 matches, but will his arrogance ultimately be the downfall, or will Roman Reigns continue to assert his spot and his dominance as the head of the table and the leader of the WWE? And as you might expect, as we move on to our selections, this one's not really close in our minds. The only way I can inevitably see Logan Paul winning this match would be if it comes by disqualification. Maybe Jimmy or Jey Uso gets involved. But to me, I just feel like this would be a great opportunity for Logan to be able to show what he can do up against the biggest name that WWE has had to offer in the last 15 years, maybe minus John Cena. But there's not much question as to who is going to walk out here as the undisputed champion. It will still be Roman Reigns leading as the head of the table. 72% of the OTRAs also going with Roman Reigns as of the time of this recording. Subject to change, of course. The match is not official until the bell rings. Everyone anticipates this will be the main event of the night, so you've got until well into Saturday afternoon to make selections and see if this vote could potentially be swung. But I believe that most people are inevitably seeing that Roman Reigns is going to walk out of Crown Jewel still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And that brings an end to our top rope spoilers for Crown Jewel. It's going live this Saturday at noon Eastern time. So if you're on the West Coast, that's 9 a.m. your time. So get your coffee ready and get yourself up early to watch a little wrestling. And if you're from the Southeast like we are, it's wrestling followed by college football. But we're looking forward to a great show. The Crown Jewel shows tend to always be fantastic because you get wrestling early in the day and get an opportunity to wake up to so much greatness, as they really do try to make these Saudi Arabian and UK events seem very similar to WrestleMania and to SummerSlam. And this one is no doubt a stacked card as well. So we look forward to it. Again, if you haven't reviewed our community page, please take a second to go take a look at it, cast your votes. We also just recently posted the most latest episode of Plate Exchange, including showing off the new plates for Seth Rollins on the United States title. So please take a moment to go check that out. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And to everyone, please enjoy Crown Jewel. We're looking forward to it. Of course, won't be in attendance, which is a rare case, but we will be in attendance at the next event, which is Survivor Series a couple of weeks from now in Boston. So we will do some type of previews and, of course, a plate exchange and a top rope spoilers before then as well. So this is Steve with On the Ring Apron. Sorry we couldn't do this one live for you guys, but everyone a little under the weather right now, but we still appreciate you taking the time to watch. Everyone enjoy Crown Jewel. We'll catch you next time.